Hey guys, it's Erica, the Communications Director here at Pinnacle. I hope you are having a fantastic day. We are doing a Pinnacle podcast, but we are shortening it.
It's called a short. It's Pinnacle Short by the two short people.
Woo!
On staff.
Short people on staff.
That's us.
So, we are going to be covering some topics that we've been talking about in our series Like Me. We've been going over social media and different things about that and how we can live out our faith on social media. Tell us a little bit more about Like Me.
Yeah, and Like Me, it's a 5-week series. We've been learning about how faith and life as Christians intersects with technology and social media. Just about everybody at some level is participating, engaging in social media. I mean, you're watching this podcast, and so we as Christians need to kind of have a good understanding of how this new technology works and how we can approach it with a correct worldview, and so we can do better with it than we sometimes do.
I like that, do better with it.
Yeah.
Especially during this season, because of COVID, a lot of people have gained to social media for their community, and it is an election year, so there's also a lot of that going on. And so on social media, we've seen all extremes. We've seen good, the bad, and the ugly. We've seen it all, and so we wanted to kind of speak into that and talk about that. And I am very passionate about the subject, being a communications director. I'm actually in school for that right now, and I'm learning about how social media can affect us emotionally and can affect us mentally, can affect our communities. And so it's really cool to learn about the psychology behind what happens to our mind. So there's a faith-based part of it, but there's also an emotional and psychological side to it that we need to be remembering. Mm-hmm. And so if you would like, we have been talking about this way more in depth through our series Like Me. If you haven't watched any of our series so far, you can go back on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, or our Vimeo and catch up on that. And you can check us out this coming Sunday because we are going to be doing week 4 of the Like Me series, and I'm really excited about that. But for this short, because we're keeping it short. I have got some tips and tricks for us on social media. And so it is 5 ways we can help, and then 5 ways that we harm via social media. And so I like to start with the positive, and then we'll end on maybe some things that we probably shouldn't do on social media. But here are some ways that we can help on social media. And I wrote them down because I have bad memory. So the first one is to take a break. I think that is so important to not always be on social media. And I'm going to add to that, even if you are on social media, to not be on it mindlessly. I catch myself all the time sitting down and just starting to scroll through Facebook. And then I get sad or depressed or spend hours on it. And so when you do get on social media, have a purpose behind it. Be meaningful with it. And if you're catching that you're on there all the time, take a break from it.
Yeah, take a break. I think, one of the good things is now, if you have an Apple phone, a Galaxy phone, whatever, you can set reminders, you can set your screen time, and all those little ticks of the trade and stuff that help you to just not spend too much time on it, which I'm guilty of, I'll admit with that.
What's something that we could do instead?
Well, you can read a book, you can go out and spend time with your family. As a Christian, you can spend time reading your Bible. You can spend time praying. You can make a phone call to somebody you've not seen in a while. There's,
that's a good one.
All kinds of stuff. Go exercise. Go for a walk.
Go kayaking.
I'm gonna go get my kayak.
Go kayaking.
Just anything that gets you away from the screen.
I like that.
So not watch TV because that's still a screen.
Yeah. My next one is to be real and honest, and there's 2 layers to this. Be real and honest first with your pictures. I know that Facetune's out there, and a lot of us are guilty of using it. I used to use it, and I look back on some of those photos, and I'm like, oh man, I feel like I looked so much better back then.
It's because you filtered it all.
I filtered. It wasn't even what I really looked like. It wasn't a real picture. No. And so when we do that, we are setting ourselves up to have depression and anxiety and feel bad about the way we look because we're comparing ourselves with photos of us and other people that aren't even real people.
Well, and I think too, though, unless you just are super, super good with Photoshop or something like that, these filtering programs, everybody knows you filtered your photo.
Yeah.
Because most people do a botched up job on it.
Yeah.
And then you're not really helping yourself.
No. And if you do this, we love you. It's okay. Like I said, we've all been guilty of this. So no shade is being thrown.
I'm not guilty.
You don't Facetune.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well,
no shade, no judgment, but I've never done Facetune.
Well, I have. So.
I'm an old dude. Come on. I've never even opened the app. So.
Yeah. So.
Is it an app? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an app.
See, it's an app. See, I don't know.
But when we do that, yeah, I mean, there's.
But I know when people have Facetuned.
Well, and then
when I look at that gal and I'm like, she looks 15, but I know her. She's 50.
And you said that in your sermon the other day too.
I did.
Yeah. But there's also...
You're going to go missing. I said this too. They're not going to know how to find you because all your pictures are going to be not you.
Yeah.
It's true.
This is true. I used to make my eyes a little bit bigger. But then now I feel like I looked like an alien, really.
Yeah,
like bug-eyed. But with that, there is a side too that contributes to depression because it can lower our self-esteem. And as Christians, if you're a follower of Jesus, we are to love ourselves like Christ loves ourselves, and not in a self-absorbed narcissistic way, but in a way of like we should be thankful that this is the body God gave us. We should use it to do some awesome things for Him. And when we're depressed and we see these photos that aren't even real, that can hinder that because we're not being thankful for what God gave us.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's also a component of not just photos, but also what you are posting. If you are constantly trying to post your perfect life, where the kids are sitting all together eating breakfast perfectly, but you're not showing that, they were all hitting each other behind the scenes, and everything is a filtered life, that's not being real and honest either.
No, we try to curate our best life, and as we've talked about a lot and extensively, the problem with that is then we compare ourselves to others compare themselves to us, and we're not comparing ourselves in reality. First off, we shouldn't compare to begin with, even to reality, but definitely not to the fake curated highlight reels that we all put out there, because it's just not real, man.
Yeah.
So
I think it too makes it really hard for people to relate to us. Like, once again, if you call yourself a Christ follower, you want to talk to people about your faith, but it can be hard for some people to break that barrier.
If you seem super perfect all the time, people who are not perfect, which is all of us, are going to have a hard time talking to you.
Yeah, relating, yeah. And there is something so amazing about being honest about some things on social media just being real. Now,
there is a flip side, though. We all know that one person who they use social media as their therapist.
Yeah.
And we don't need to go that far with it, because there is a balance to that, because you got that one person who every post is like super negative, super down. They're telling you everything. They're telling you things they should be telling their therapist. We don't need to go that extreme either.
No, not that extreme. That's a good point. There is a balance.
Yeah.
Not being perfect, but also not using it as a diary, because it is public.
Everyone it's not a diary.
That. And it never goes away.
It never goes away.
And that actually leads into the next tip, number 3, is to encourage and inspire and be positive.
Yeah.
In one of my classes I took this past semester, we learned about how algorithms on Facebook and on other social media sites tend to lean toward the negative, because negative gets more reactions from people, it gets more engagement, and so the algorithms are all about pushing things that are going to get seen the most. And so,
the things that get seen the most are the things that are the most negative.
Yeah, normally negative. And so we can combat that by being positive, by being encouraging.
That's good.
Jesus calls us to love our neighbors, and we can love our neighbors by loving on them, by being kind and positive. And number 4, of course, I'm going to throw this in because I'm the communications director. Share your church's content. Right now, a lot of people have said, it feels really hard because not everyone can come into church.
Yeah, with COVID.
There's a disconnect for a lot of people, but that is not the reality. This is a great time to invite people to church by clicking share, by sharing your content, by inviting them to watch the stream.
It's easier than ever before. You just have to share your stuff. No matter whether you go to our church or another church, whatever church you're affiliated with, or churches you follow that you like. Share their stuff. And let me say this, sometimes I think, we're a decent large church. We're not a mega church, but sometimes, people from other smaller churches and stuff, you're more apt to share content that you see from like the celebrity pastors and stuff, and that's good. I do it. Shout out Timothy Keller, love him. But you're part of that body, and you really need to be pushing the church that you're part of, because that's where your friends are going to come when you eventually invite them and bring them and stuff. And so make sure you're giving that church that you're a part of, you're putting out, especially if they're putting content out. And to people at churches that aren't putting content out, you need to put content out. That's where the world's at now. It's where we relate to people. But you need to be sharing that content, because it's an easy way to share your faith. Now, granted, I guess we're going to get into this with the negatives. If you are sharing your content, you got to make sure you're not a jerk online.
Yeah,
if you're a jerk online, I would rather you not share our content.
Yeah, and we will definitely talk about that. That goes into use it to be empathetic. Follow people who don't think like you do, who don't believe what you believe. If you're a Christian, follow people who aren't Christians. If you're not a Christian, follow people who are Christians. And don't follow them to argue with them. Yeah. Don't follow them because you want to prove someone wrong, but follow to genuinely be empathetic and to learn.
Yeah, we've all, I guess, heard about the echo chamber. It's real easy for us to get in an echo chamber and only hear from voices that believe like, act like, think like, vote like we do. And, it's good. We need a good steady diet to grow in our faith and stuff. But I want to have some challenge in my life. I want to see what other people think so I can know how to talk with them and understand, at least, even if I don't agree, and many times I don't, where they're coming from. I can at least be empathetic to understand where they're coming from. And that just makes a better society anyways. And if you're serious about your faith and sharing your faith with other people, it's hard to do that if the only people you know are your evangelical tribe, because we know how to talk to each other, but a lot of times we don't know how to talk to people that don't believe like we do.
Yeah, because sometimes we can say stuff that sounds really weird.
Yeah, with the churchy language and stuff. The Christianese.
It's good to get out and see.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're... I know Scripture said, we're to guard our mind, guard our heart, guard our thoughts, and we're not telling you to go and... there's certain things you should never follow or like or share or see things that are just blatantly wrong, blatantly immoral, blatantly evil. But you can still be friends with that guy on Facebook that's your buddy from high school that's not a Christian, and that puts stuff out that you don't agree with. You can still be friends with him. You can still follow him. You can still interact with him. You might learn something.
I've seen a lot of people during this election season saying that they're, if you don't agree with me, unfriend me right now. Or
yeah, that's crazy.
If you agree with me, unfollow me. And at first I was like, well, that makes sense. But then it doesn't.
It makes no sense. Not for a believer.
Because you are...
So basically you're telling everybody that you could potentially witness to...
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest. You're basically telling them all to go to hell. I mean, that's what you're doing, because you're like, unfollow me, I don't want to communicate with you, I don't want to share with you,
yeah.
You don't agree with me, just go on with your little life. Well,
yeah.
That's real evangelistic, isn't it?
Not. And there's a difference in
until I get really going about this.
There's a difference in taking a toxic person out of your life.
Yeah, that's different,
This is like just every
but
day.
I think, too, though, we use that toxic people thing way too much just to get people out from our view that we just... that don't agree with us, because we want everybody to agree and like, and
there's a difference
kumbaya with us.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a difference in everyone agreeing with you and being able to disagree but still be cordial with each other. Yeah. And I think that's where we have got to get to is being able to disagree but still love each other and be kind to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen that on all sides, all religions, all over.
Yeah.
So that's just a blanket, like... If you are a person, that is something you need to be following.
Yeah.
So
those are our positives.
Our positives. Now, let's get to the things that you shouldn't be doing.
You shouldn't be doing.
And I've seen these. I'm guilty of them.
We're all guilty of them.
I've seen people do them. So, anyway, number one, going to the empathy thing, arguing with strangers or arguing with people that you really don't have a good relationship with on social media. just don't argue on social media.
You know, there's this great proverb in the Old Testament that says, when you argue with a fool, the world doesn't know the difference. So basically it says the people that are watching, when you get in an argument with somebody, they don't know whether you're the fool or the other guy's the fool.
Yeah.
And so it's just something to think about. I try to understand. And the thing is, you're not gonna win anybody to Christianity by arguing with them. You can. There is a place for healthy debate. There's a place for. I mean, that's what I love about being American: free exchange of ideas,
freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. You know, great. And but I always say it's how you say it, not just what you say. And but arguing with people that I don't even know, that's silly. Don't be an internet troll if you're a believer in Jesus. There's enough of that going around, and we don't need to be trolls. Because all trolls do is to get a rise and reaction out of you. Well, and don't engage trolls.
And I included, that's big, don't engage trolls. I see that. But also I see, too, where people, like, they're friends on Facebook, and they kind of know each other, but they're really not in each other's corner. They're not in a relationship together that will argue.
Yeah, you've not earned a right to argue with that person.
No.
Just because they're your Facebook friend, you don't have a real... it's different if it's someone you do life with, have a relationship with, that you're there for, and you've been friends for 40 years or whatever. You've earned that right. But just Billy Bob that knows your second cousin that played football against you one time and likes your stuff, you've not earned the right to argue with that person.
No, and like you said, there's the healthy debate, but a healthy debate is not the comment section of a post on Facebook. It's not the comment section of Twitter or Instagram, because when you type words, it's very hard to read tone.
Yeah,
it's very hard to read the body. There is no body language, and so no one knows how each person is coming off. And you had said it in a sermon once, and I loved this. It's that we often speak to win an argument or to rebuttal rather than to listen. Yeah, and so we're not truly being empathetic. We're just shouting at each other.
We just shout at each other.
And if someone that you are friends with, that you have a relationship, posts something that hurts you, call them, talk to them.
Yeah, have a private conversation.
Have a private conversation.
Private DM.
Yeah, that is so much better than just shouting in the comment section, because that's not doing anyone good. It's not going to change that person to your viewpoint, and it honestly makes you look kind of like a jerk. And it goes back to, if you're going to share your church's content, if you're going to say, oh, Jesus loves you, don't be a jerk online.
Well, I think one thing that I've learned by my counselor, shout out to my counselor Jen in Nome, Alaska, maybe she'll see this, we can't make it personal. A lot of times when we engage with people, it's one thing to have a disagreement, it's one thing to strongly disagree on issues, but then when we personally attack people and we begin to say things about their online about their character and who they are and their belief, their family, we question their faith. You don't know that person. And you don't know their heart. And so that when you make
we're not God.
When you make it personal, you're really stepping out. Nobody likes it when people make it personal against us. So we definitely don't need to do that against other people.
No, and that's so true. And like also being like with the whole personal thing too. I've seen a lot of people say, well, as Christians, we've got to stand up for what's right. We've got to stand up for what we believe in. And that is, while that's true, we have to remember, if you're a Christian, the enemy is not people.
No, it's principalities and high places. Ephesians, at the end of Ephesians, Paul talks about that. He says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. And there's your thing. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle against ideas. We wrestle against spiritual wickedness in high places. We wrestle against the enemy of our soul.
Yeah, we should love people
and we are to speak the truth in love, but the problem is we speak a lot of truth with very little love. Yes. And on the flip side, you can be really loving and never speak truth. And of course, I think it's not real loving if you don't speak truth.
Once again, there's a balance. My saying, Ericanese, I like to say, is that with everything there is a balance. You don't want to eat a whole cake in one sitting, you'll get a bellyache. But a slice is not bad.
Slice is not bad.
See? So,
especially if it's pound cake.
So number 2, sharing false information.
Wow, this is a short, and we're going really long.
I know, it's hard. So we'll go. So sharing false information. If you don't know the source, if you don't know the credibility, don't share it.
Yes.
There's a lot of memes out there. Most of them are not true. They're created by someone somewhere else. Don't share them.
Yeah. Make sure that what you're sharing is true. And not just because your cousin Billy Bob shared it and said he researched it. It may not be true. And
even websites now that look very real and very convincing.
Can be very unlegit.
Very unlegit. And so if you question it, if it solely aligns with your viewpoint, do some research. Question it.
It might be real.
It might be. But it's better to find out first.
Well, because if it's not, you're basically lying, and that's a sin.
Yeah.
And we never think about that, do we? When we just fire off something.
Yeah.
We never think, if this is not true, I'm lying. Yeah. I'm contributing to a lie. I'm a liar.
I have had someone tell me,
think about that.
It doesn't matter that it's not true. It's the principle behind it.
No, it matters if it's true.
No,
truth matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't lie.
Yeah.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. We go back to the not being real. So we say to be real. So of course the false of that would be not to be real. We've covered that. Thinking everyone acts and thinks like you. I have seen a lot of posts that have been like, what person did this, or I can't believe a person would do this, or you're not a Christian if you do this, or you're a Christian if you do this. And I've seen so many of those. And it is all coming from a place where you are not thinking outside of yourself. You're only thinking that everyone thinks and acts like you.
Yeah. And
that can cause some huge issues if you want to share your faith as a Christian.
Yes. That's good. I have nothing to add to that.
Okay.
It's just true.
And number 5.
The world's a big place.
Yeah.
Christianity is a big religion. What matters is the essentials of the faith.
Well, and I mean, not all Americans are Christians. Not all Christians are Americans.
No, that's true.
It's like a bag of candy. There's lots of flavors, and so you've got to be really careful with those comments because you can alienate yourself from reaching someone, or you can hurt.
Jesus.
Yeah, and you could also hurt a fellow brother and sister in Christ by what you say. Yeah. So watch what you say. And then finally, don't let it be your only contact or communication with your community.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah, do not let it on, don't...
Those keyboard warriors.
Don't be a keyboard warrior. Don't post, if you're sick or something, don't post on that and then wonder why nobody has reached out to you. Because they might have not saw the post. Not everyone sees.
Yeah, we love it. Sometimes that happens when somebody will be like, you didn't know I was sick. I'm like, nah. They're like, you didn't see my Facebook post? I'm like, nah. I'm not on there all the time.
No. And also...
And on the flip side, it's like the only way people engage and share and all that stuff. And it's, you need to
that balance.
Be face-to-face with people, even in the age of COVID. Wear a mask.
So social media can be an amazing tool. You can use it to reach your community. You can use it to connect with your community, especially right now in the age of COVID. For a lot of people, that is the only safe way they can do that. But you can still, in safe ways, connect with your community. You can call people. You can write letters. You can engage on the live stream of your church or, take online classes. There are a million things to do that connects you to your community that's not just a social media platform like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. And I think when you get out there, you see that maybe all the problems you're seeing on Facebook isn't as big as you might think because you're out.
No, I'm a firm believer that if everybody in this country would shut the news off for a year, whatever your preferred service is, and maybe even kill your social media feeds and just live your life day to day with people, you might find that we would all be a lot happier, and we might find that not everybody we think is out to get us is out to get us.
Yeah. We might be a lot kinder.
Yeah, with our people.
Yeah.
Because just the negativity feeds into that and stuff. So, yeah.
So, that's what
not that that'll ever happen, but it would be cool to try it.
But that's not the reality. So we say, go forth. If you're going to stay on social media, please use it wisely. Please, if you call yourself a Christian, be kind, be loving, share your church's social media. And if you are feeling like it is negatively affecting you, whether it's making you depressed, sad, or angry, take a break from it.
Take a break.
That is A-okay.
You don't need it.
That's all I have, though. Do you have anything else?
No, this has been fun. Thanks for letting me.
I would say this is more of a medium podcast than
it's not a short. It was a medium.
It's a medium.
It's okay, though. So we'll see you next time, guys. And if you haven't yet, check out our series, Like Me. There's some good stuff on there. Lots of things we weren't able to cover today.
And please, if you see our posts, like, share, and comment on it. I love getting to chat with you guys on our page. So we hope you have an amazing week, and we'll see you Sunday.
See you guys.